Hey, this is Polly. I have emerged. I've been laying low for a while, and I thought I'm going to do a new lesson for us. What we're going to do today, which is kind of exciting, is we are going to do an ocean, a really basic, easy ocean. If you're starting something new, make sure that it's easy. And sometimes when you make them a little tiny, it's even easier to go little. So we're going to take this ocean and I'm going to paint it here. So I just basically kind of drew this up in my mind. So first off, I used my tape measure and I taped it off. If you want to tape it off to have nice crisp edges, you can. You can just use masking tape that you can get anywhere. I measured, this is my halfway point on the picture. It's about 5 inches, a little over, and this is 2.5 inches. So I'm going to just roughly say about a quarter. I kind of measured off. This is where your sky, like here, this is where your sky is going to be. So I kind of measured, there's my halfway mark. So I kind of went about a little bit over a quarter, but a quarter is where I'm going to put my sky. And then very easily where your surf is coming in on the sand, it'll come in at an angle. So I kind of did a little angle like this. You can see that. Then what I'm going to do, very lightly, really lightly, I'm going to draw in, and I'm just going to fake it where I'm going to have a big wave, and I'm not pushing really hard. Maybe I'll have a big wave here, and then we'll have another wave kind of lower. So you have where it's a little bit taller. You can basically kind of do whatever you like, where it kind of curls. And then I'm just going to kind of maybe show where it gets skinny right here. Maybe we'll do that pretty big. And then here it kind of hits. I want to show you something too. Do not erase with these erasers. They'll leave a dirty mark on your, if you need to erase, on your paper. So if you need to erase, get a white eraser. You can get them at any art store usually. They don't leave a residue, and they're clean. Because I used this on the side of this yesterday, and it left a mark. So tip of the day, use a white eraser to erase. So I'm just going to fake in where you probably would see a surf coming in. That looks pretty good. And you can do anything you want. That's the neat thing about waves. So that's going to be the rolling wave. I might even draw this down a little bit and erase a little bit of this. It's kind of coming in at an angle. That looks pretty good. So you just kind of have, you've got a wave. That looks good. Kind of slides down. Okay, really easy. And the next thing, what we're going to do, so you kind of have that drawn in, and you can copy this. You can look at that for a moment to see how to do it. Very, very basic drawing. And then here's a drawing. Not a lot to it. So how you're going to do a piece like this, we'll start, I've got my flat brush, so we can kind of get this wet. We're going to start with this guy. I've got my big flat brush, and then I'm going to kind of use, I've got a number 7 I'm going to use today. I think this is a 3. I've got a liner, a 4. You can use a whole menagerie of brushes. I believe this is a 6. You could do a 6 and a 7, a 4, a liner, and a 3. So I'm going to mix, and I'm going to go ahead and mix with the number 8, just so I can get a lot of stuff going here. I'm going to take a little bit of cerulean blue, and I'm going to mix it with some ultramarine blue. Ultramarine blue and cerulean blue. So you just kind of get a pretty light blue. There's cerulean blue, there's ultramarine blue, and I just mixed it. Every now and then you're going to dip in your water. So add your water so you kind of get a nice watery consistency. So here we go. We're going to just do our sky right now, since I showed you some tips. I'm going to take a clean brush. This is my clean liner brush. Wet and wet brush, my clean wash brush. And I'm just going to get this wet. Now, if you were doing it this tiny, which you can, which is kind of fun, you wouldn't have to do a big brush. You could just use a little number 4 or 3. Kind of, you use your tool that's going to fit your size. So there you go. I just got it wet. Easy, easy. Now I'm going to dip it. I'm dipping it in the water. I'm going to dip her in the water, dip it in the paint. Pretty consistent. Got some water in here, and watch what I'm going to do. I don't want my sky to overpower my wave. So I just want to keep it simple. I want my eye to go to the wave and not to the sky. So I'm just going to do an easy, since I got it wet, the paint's going to go on a lot lighter. Look at that. I'm just going to go back and forth. This is just kind of a nice, solid wash. That's it. I'm going to leave that alone. That looks great. Next, really quickly, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some cerulean alizarin crimson and a little bit of yellow ochre and some burnt umber. Burnt umber, alizarin crimson, and yellow ochre, kind of equal, really watered down. And you know what I'm going to do here? While you've got it, so this has got to dry, you might as well, I'm not even going to get this wet, you might as well just tackle it and just do, because it's very tiny, I'm just going to do the sand. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to do a wash in the sand. Make sure it doesn't go up too much in your water. I mean, it can go a little bit because it can kind of glow underneath, but you don't want it to go too much in the water. Just keep it like that. And there's my sand. I'm just going to leave it. So I did my sky, and I'm going to do my sand. And I think I kind of like this. Just random. Ooh, I just put a little bit less water, more paint. Oh, I like that. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone. Now look what I'm going to do. I kind of got up where my water is, where my surf, because I don't want it to. You just kind of wipe it off. It's okay if you have a little stain there, because we're going to be able to cover that up. So that's what you're going to do first. You're going to do your sky, cerulean blue, ultramarine blue, and you're going to do your beach, your sand. Burnt umber, yellow ochre, and a little bit of alizarin crimson, kind of a salmon color. That's it. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to dry it with the hair dryer. See you next lesson.